Also, from last week, missed this story. Um, it was in, I think it was in Bloomberg. Uh, mm, Bill de Blasio's proposal for taxing the rich in this city, and I believe it's anybody making over $500,000, to support the creation of universal pre-K, has bewildered and offended some New Yorkers. And a buddy of mine told me that he has some finance types, friends on the Upper East Side, who are just terrified of Bill de Blasio. And it's just so shocking. I mean, this is some of the quotes. It shows a lack of sensitivity to the city's biggest revenue providers and job creators, says Catherine Wild, president of the Partnership for New York City. It's just so mean. Wah. The city's richest 1% took home 39% of all earnings in 2012, up from 12% in 1980. Almost anyone with a self-perceived degree of affluence will be uncomfortable with de Blasio's tax ideas, says Michael Steinhardt, chairman of the New York-based asset manager Wisdom Tree Investments. While growing inequality is troubling, Steinhardt said, perhaps even more so is the thought that more government spending is the way out of our problems. Now, I don't have the assets for an asset manager with Wisdom Tree Investments to manage. But if the idea of providing universal pre-K you don't think will implicate people's ability, A, to go out and work when they have young kids, B, set those young kids up to get a better education, to be more productive in the future, then, which would then, in both those instances, at least to some measure, help income inequality. If you can't add those two basic concepts together, I don't know if I would trust you with my assets. Buzzy Gildold, who runs the hedge fund Cougar Capital in the city and is a trustee of Manhattan's Dalton School, well, annual tuition tops $40,000, said de Blasio's plan is the most absurd thing I've ever heard. It's not a smart thing to do. Now, you ready for how draconian this tax plan is?
This better be like a cultural
Folks,
revolution thing, Maoist
listen
thing.
carefully. If you're one of the wealthy elite in this city, hold on to you may want to sit down for this. Or call your travel agent and find out where the best place to relocate in Switzerland is. De Blasio's plan would raise the marginal tax rate on incomes above $500,000 to 4.4% from almost 3.9%. That is a 0.5% increase. For the 27,300 city taxpayers earning $500,000 to $1 million, the average increase would be $973 a year. Now, I know that's the price of maybe a fixture in your bathroom if you're making that kind of money. At incomes of $5 million to $10 million, it would climb to $33,000 out of that $5 million you're taking in. And for those earning a mere more than $10 million annually, you would have to pay up to $182,000 more. Boo effing who? Wow! Honestly, you should be ashamed of yourself. If you're making more than $10 million a year, I'm going to have to pay 0.5% more taxes. That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. These high earners already contribute more than 43% of the city's income tax revenue. Income tax revenue. Sales tax hits poor people disproportionately. All the other taxes the city collects hits low-income people disproportionately. They're taking in 39% of the income. This doesn't even talk about the capital gains that's involved in this, nor the many of them that have undoubtedly set up their residences out in the Hamptons so they can escape the city taxes anyways. Just a joke.
I think demanding revenue from the change in our couch cushions is one of the most morally reprehensible things any modern politician has done in New York City.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a bad idea.
How are they supposed to afford their country club dues now, Sam?
Well, they can still afford it. I mean,
How am
would
I
bet
supposed to afford those things I can still afford?
not a dollar of those taxes will prevent them from buying anything other than investments, which they will then accrue more money and pay a diminished income tax on, because it'll be a 15% capital gain.
Sam, what you don't understand is, so say I'm in that income bracket, and I rent out a room at Scores, the strip club that they hand flyers out for in Midtown, and I
Right.
go there 5 days a week.
Vaguely aware of it.
Now all of a sudden, I have to pay a few extra $100 for some kid to go to preschool. Well, guess what? I'm not going to go to Scores 5 days a week anymore. Maybe I'm going to go 4 days a week.
No,
what
you
happens
probably
to
will
those
still
girls?
go 5 days.
Yeah.
You'll still go 5 days. That's the point. It
Yeah.
will not change anybody's
Maybe I
spending
won't buy a
behavior
fifth bottle of
one
Cristal.
iota. The idea that $180,000, if you're making $10 million a year, will impact your buying decisions is ludicrous. Ludicrous. I mean, you know what? I mean, I don't even know why 500,000. Do it at $250,000. $400 extra in taxes? Big deal. Big deal. I'm sorry. That money is meaningless to those people. It is really just, it's morally offensive to them, is what the issue is. It's morally offensive that this city would be proposing services or anything that don't directly benefit me in the very short term. Maybe it should just be put to these people like, hey, all those servants you have, your chauffeur, your cook, your nanny.
Nannies.
They're going to be able to, it's going to be a little bit less stressful for them because their kids are going to be in pre-K and they're not going to have to pay for it. I mean, it's stunning to me.
But why don't those kids just pick themselves up by their bootstraps and send themselves to pre-K?
Why doesn't my nanny just come to me for a low-interest loan that I can deduct off of her already meager paycheck? That's how we can do it. Yeah, I understand the
rich are not
mentality.
seeing the incredible income-generating opportunities that are involved here.